Okay, so I want to start today by talking about the work that we should have done. Okay. Okay, so we should have completed 2 forums. And you should have taken your screenshots and sent them to me. We also have the essay. One essay. That was due on Monday. I think there's still a few missing. But I do have most of them, I think. And then we have video task. And I really need that for the 19th of July. Because that's our final test, our final exam on Sunday. I sent an email earlier about the video task. You have a choice of 4 topics. Now you only need one of them. It should be about 1 minute long. And you can send it to my email or through WhatsApp. Okay, is there anyone, does anyone have questions about anything?
Yes, teacher, I have a question. I'm sorry for the interruption. The video task, it's the final test, or the final test, it's another complete different assignment?
No, it's different.
Okay.
The video task is like a video essay.
Okay. Fine.
Any other questions? No? No. Okay. Okay. So I think we've looked at all the grammar from the platform. But does anyone have any questions about any of the grammar, any of the platform work? No? I can't remember if we did the past modals last week. Did we? Or was that my other group?
Prof, excuse me, I have one question.
Okay.
Sorry. When do we can know about our essays grade?
Well, when I've graded them, I have 170
Okay, don't worry.
to grade, so that's why I'm a bit behind with the emails and things.
Yeah, thank you, Prof.
But they will be available when we upload everything onto the system.
Yeah.
If you want to know your grade before, then you can send me an email next week.
Okay, thanks a lot, Prof.
Okay. Any more? I was just looking for the last thing we did was the mixed conditionals. Just give me a second to get my past modals. Okay, did we do this one last Monday? This is Unit 8. It's the last grammar on the platform. Okay, so modals of deduction. So when we guess about situations based on evidence, we can use these modals of deduction to say what we think is true or what we think has happened. So when we are 100% true, we use must. So 90 to 100% sure that something is true. And we use it with the infinitive. In this case, the bare infinitive. She must be in the garden. Look at their house, they must be rich. We can also use this to talk about the past. When we use have in the past participle. She must have been in the garden when I called. Okay, so we're looking at the evidence. So I called, she didn't answer. I think that she must have been in the garden. I'm quite sure. And we use the negative, can't, not mustn't. So he's just left, he can't be too far. Not, he mustn't be too far. We use can't when we are almost positive that something is not true. And as the platform will be available for the rest of the week. You can have until Monday to complete the platform. Okay, so can't, when we are almost certain that something is not true or something is impossible. So she can't be his mother, she's too young. So we're looking at the evidence. We don't believe that it's possible that she is his mother because of her age. He's just left, he can't be too far. And then the past meanings. You can't have seen her, she was at home. So it's impossible that you saw her. And couldn't have, plus the past participle. You couldn't have seen her. So notice we can use can't and couldn't for the past. May or might. Remember, may and might are for possibility. So here it says 30 to 50% sure it's true or it's not true. So we have the present meaning with the infinitive. He may take the next train or he might take the next train. And she may or might not be home yet. In the past meaning, he may have taken a different train. He'll call, so it's a possibility that he took a different train. He might not have heard you. So it's saying, based on the evidence, it's possible that he didn't hear you. And we can also use could. Remember, may, might, and can are all quite similar. But we were talking in the past, so we use could. And finally, we have should and ought to. This is what we expect to be true. So we have the present meaning with the infinitive. He should be at work now, or he ought to be at work now. Remember, ought to is a more formal way of saying should, but they have very similar meanings. And it shouldn't be too far now, or it ought not to be too far now. Then we have the past meaning. You should have packed. You ought to have packed. You're going to be late. And the negative, you shouldn't have done. You shouldn't have done that, or you ought not to have done that. It was rude. So again, ought to is a more formal way of expressing the same thing. This is available in the shared folder. So you can check it out there. And just have a quick look at some of these examples. Okay, so we can use some modal verbs in infinitive to talk about how certain we are that something is or is not true. We can also use some modal verbs plus have plus the past participle to talk about how certain we are that something was or was not true in the past. So must have done, we use must have and the past participle to say we are quite sure that something was true or happened in the past. So I can't find my wallet, I must have dropped it in the taxi. Okay, so we're looking at the evidence. My wallet isn't in my pocket. I can't find it. So I surmised I dropped it in the taxi. You must have had a real scare when you saw the crocodile. So crocodiles are scary animals. So I imagine that you were scared, you were afraid when you saw the crocodile. So that's when we're sure, this is when we are sure that something didn't happen, or something isn't true. So we use can't, or couldn't have, in the past participle to say that we are quite sure that something did not happen, or was not true in the past. So she can't have seen John last night. Or you couldn't have seen John last night. He was in hospital. So it's impossible to have seen him. She can't have passed the test. She didn't even open the books. So we're looking at the evidence. I think it's impossible that she passed the test. And note again that we use can't and not mustn't. And could, may, and might, remember they're all very, very similar. We use might or may have, and the past participles say that it's possible that something was true or happened in the past. So it's been 3 days, they might have finished painting the house by now, or they may have finished painting the house by now. If they left at 9, they might have already arrived, or they may have already arrived. So these are interchangeable. Sometimes we can use might, sometimes we can use may. Sometimes we use could. But note that we use might not or may not to talk about a negative possibility, not could not. Remember, could not means we think it's impossible or we think it's not true. So she might not have heard us, knock again. Or she may not have heard us, knock again. And then the last should and ought to. We use should have, ought to have, and the past participle to talk about a situation expected to happen in the past. This form is normally used for criticism. So you should have already packed your things. We're going to be late. You ought to have already packed your things. We're going to be late. Or you ought to have studied more. He should have studied more. I did have a link. I don't know where it is. Sorry, I'll just bring it. Just use the first one. Okay. Let's have a look at some examples. We can think about how we arrive at the answers. So these are only used, 4 of them. Must have, might have, should have, can't have. But remember, might have is the same as may have and the same as could have. So number 1, John something gone on holiday. I saw him this morning downtown. So we're looking at the evidence. I saw John this morning. So are we thinking that it's, are we sure that he's gone on holiday? Do we think it's a possibility he's gone on holiday? Do you think it's impossible that he's gone on holiday? What do you think? What do you think? Well, if some people think he's gone on holiday, but I saw him this morning, then we're saying that it's impossible. So what do we use for impossible? Or to say that something isn't true?
Should have.
Can't have. Can't have gone on holiday.
Yeah.
Nobody answered the phone at the clinic. Something closed early. So again, do we think it's a possibility? Do we think it's impossible? Do we think that we're sure that something has happened? What do you think?
Should have or might have.
Might have. It's a possibility. Or it could even be that we are sure that it closed early. That's what might have. I think we'll need to be more sure. Number 3, I something revised more for my exams. I think I'll fail. Okay, so the You said here that should
Okay.
is form normally used for criticism. So in this example, it's self-criticism. So we're saying, I should have revised more for my exams. I think I failed. So it's self-criticism. Sarah looks really pleased with herself. She's something past her driving test this morning.
I think probably it could be must have.
Must have? Yeah. We're looking at the evidence,
Exactly.
pleased. And it's implied that we know that she took her driving test today. I didn't know you were going to Phil's party yesterday. Something told me. So again, it's another form of criticism. So
I think it has to be should have.
Mhm. Oh, did it wrong. Okay, then we have two similar sentences with Jim and his train. I can't believe Jim hasn't arrived yet. Something caught the wrong train. So let's look at the evidence. Jim hasn't arrived. He's been expected to arrive. So we're making the summation that he didn't take the correct train. So are we sure, or are we possibility? So we're going to be sure about this because Jim hasn't arrived, but he is expected to have arrived. So he must have. And then a similar one. I can't believe Jim hasn't arrived yet. Something caught the correct train. So we can't use must have because we use must have here. Might have doesn't make any sense because we're saying it's a possibility that he caught the correct train. Should have, again, doesn't make any sense because we can't criticize Jim in this way. So that leaves us with can't have. We think it's impossible that he caught the correct train. So we're sure that he caught the wrong train. So these two sentences are almost the same. Don't lie to me that you were ill yesterday. You something been ill? Don said you were at the ice hockey match last night. So we're looking at the evidence. We're saying it's impossible that you were ill because you went to the hockey match. So what do we need? We need can't have again. So we're saying it's impossible that you were ill. I don't know where they went on holiday, but they bought euros before they left. So they, something gone to France or Germany. Are we saying, I'm sure? Are we saying it's implausible? Or are we saying it's a possibility? So we can't use must, because then we're saying we're sure. We can't use can't have because we can't say that it's impossible because we don't know. So that leaves us with the possibility that they have gone to France or Germany. His number was busy all night. He's something been on the phone continuously for hours. Okay, so we're looking at the evidence. His phone was busy. So we're making a guess that we're positive, we're sure about something. So we need to use must have. And then the final one. It's something been Mickey I saw at the party. He didn't recognize me at all. So, again, we just need to use our process of elimination. He didn't recognize me. So we're saying, I don't think it was Mickey. So I think it's impossible that it was Mickey. So we can't use must have, because that means we're sure. We can't use should have, because that means we're criticizing. And we can't use might have, because it doesn't make any sense. So our clues here. So we're saying it's impossible that it was Mickey. So it can't have been Mickey. He didn't recognize me at all. Okay, so we use these forms when we look at the evidence and we give our opinion about if something's possible, impossible, if we're sure, or if we're criticizing. Does anyone have any questions about anything? This is the last piece of grammar. There was no new grammar in units 9 and 10. Any questions? Does anyone have any questions about any of the grammar from previous units? Remember that the test on Sunday is units 6 to 10. The test, again, will be open all day from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Remember, you have 2 hours to complete it. If you have problems with freezing or anything going wrong with the platform, take a screenshot so you can send it to me. But normally, if the platform or the test freezes, you just need to wait a few minutes, and it normally comes back. So don't panic if something happens. Okay, so I'll just go over the work again. You have the forums, 2 forums. These should be finished by now. You have the essay. You have your 4 topics. This should also be done. Video task. I need before Monday, because I need to grade them and upload the notes on Tuesday morning. exam. Sunday the 19th between 8 a.m. and 11 p.m. And the platform will be available. I'll keep it available until Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock. But that's when I have to close it and get the final grades for the platform. Does anyone have any further questions? Hello? Any questions about anything? No? So everything's clear now with the times that we need to complete everything. Yes? You're very quiet. Okay. So there's no questions?
No,
Nope.
no, everything is okay.
Okay.
The final exam is, I don't know, how do you say acumulativo in English?
Sorry?
The final exam is cumulative. I don't know, how do you say acumulativo?
It's 25% of the total grade. So similar to the midterm.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Any more questions?
No,
Okay. So final exam Sunday between 8 and 11. You have your 2 hours to complete it. And if you have problems, make sure you take the screenshots. Okay? So good luck. I'll be in touch as well over the next few days for any missing work. So, guess we'll finish 5 minutes early. So enjoy the rest of your evening. Good luck for the test. And remember, if you have any questions, just email me, okay? Or you can send me a WhatsApp. That's fine. Okay. So enjoy your evenings.
Okay, Prof. Thanks. Have a nice night.
You too.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Good night.